There is a new paradigm. Gentlemen, thank you for sharing your views. You know, part of the First Amendment is about respecting the views of others. Sir,
law enforcement has determined that for the safety of all the tens of thousands of people that have gathered in and around the arena, tonight's rally will be postponed until another day. Thank you very much for your attendance, and please go in peace.
this is a sad day. Political discourse should occur in this country without a threat of violence, without anger and rage and hatred directed at each other. We need to learn to have disagreements without being disagreeable, to have disagreements while respecting human beings on the other side. Earlier today, over 30 people were arrested at one rally. And then tonight, as violence broke out, the rally was canceled altogether.
41, I need some bikes to start moving with this crowd. There's those bikes, some of those bikes out here moving with the crowd. We're moving southbound on State Street right now. Southbound on State from 18th.
Car 41's requesting a bike unit to move with the crowd, southbound on State Street from 18th. Southbound on State from 18th.
Now, the responsibility for that lies with protesters who took violence into their own hands.
That being said, I have heard of some disturbances near the parking garage on the scanner. Police are heading there. Pam, if you can come back down to the crowd, and this is here on Van Buren. Let's go left here on Racine across the expressway where there's more activity. You'll go a little further left. You see the police there. Zoom in on that if you can. And more folks who are leaving northbound. We're hearing words of disturbances here. You can see folks are just kind of stuck here. This is across the expressway now. This is on Racine, north of the expressway and the Eisenhower. We saw this before where you've got protesters that have been here chained themselves together. You've got folks leaving the rally, and they've got to get through that chain of protesters, although it looks like they're able to do so now. Again, I heard the police talking about some disturbances in that area. This is just two sides of this pavilion. On the other sides, police kind of scrambling to try to get to the scene. We've got the Chicago Police Department helicopter. They are flying below us. They are surveying this entire area and trying to put the police officers where they are needed most at this time. Meanwhile, the biggest crowd here is southwest of the arena. Most of the protesters have stayed put here, and again, they're on the south side of the street. Folks leaving the arena on the north side of the street. So where the biggest crowds are, things appear to be mostly under control, but by that parking garage and north of the Eisenhower, maybe not as much so. We'll keep listening, we'll keep watching, and keep you posted here on any developments. We're live here just west of the UIC Pavilion. I'm Mike Lorber, Sky 5.
But in any campaign, responsibility starts at the top. Any candidate is responsible for the culture of the campaign. And when you have a campaign that disrespects the voters, when you have a campaign that affirmatively encourages violence, when you have a campaign that is facing allegations of physical violence against members of the press, you create an environment that only encourages this sort of nasty discord.
I need all units in Michigan to move up to Roosevelt, Michigan. Michigan, we got too many people here. We need as many units as possible. We got to clear this street.
All right, all units to move east of Michigan on Roosevelt per car. Need to clear the people out there east of Michigan on Roosevelt. Need as many units as possible over there per car 41.
They have to come off of Columbus and come westbound on Roosevelt. Westbound on Roosevelt.
All right, you have to come off Columbus westbound on Roosevelt. If you're heading that way, come off Columbus westbound on Roosevelt.
4190 on Roosevelt. We need a line. All of you coming down Roosevelt. Come down on the north side of Roosevelt.
All right, do not block the street on Roosevelt. Need all the cars on the north side of Roosevelt per 4190.
It is my hope that going forward, we will have a respectful, substantive, issues-based discussion where we can have differences in terms of how to turn this country around. We have genuine and real differences in this country, but we can do so in a way that appeals to our better angels instead of our worst instincts.
To go back to those locations and form their lines. Okay, so we're going to go back to our prior positions when we were at Roosevelt, Michigan, about 10 minutes ago. Everybody go back to their prior positions. I believe we have area south and area north at Congress in Michigan, and then area central at Balboa in Michigan.
That seeks to pull us together and unite us instead of tear us apart. You know, we've seen for 7 years a president who often at times of crisis has sought to divide us on racial lines, on ethnic lines, on religious lines, on class lines.
Some units on the footbridge. We might need a couple more, but I think they're stopping right now. They're turning around. It looks like they're all coming back to Michigan, but let's get some coverage over there anyways.
It looks like they're all coming back to Michigan, but need the coverage over there anyways.
6700 Jack, put half the guys here at 11th Street, send the other half up to Balboa, and just hang in the corner.
America's better than this. We don't have to tear each other apart. Instead, we can work together for positive, proactive solutions to the real problems facing this country. Americans want jobs. We want our wages going up. We want opportunity again for young people. And we ought to be having a positive, meaningful discussion about what policies will expand opportunity for the next generation to achieve the American dream.